Okay, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again. This week we're gonna pick up where we left off on the Onan 140WE with the RoiLine 844 V8. Let's take a quick walk around the unit and recap where we left off. Alright, well, we took a look at this thing last week and determined that the mechanical governor had failed. Now, I posed the question at the end of last week's video whether or not everybody would be interested in seeing a conversion to an electronic governor, and almost everybody wanted to see that. Only one or two people out there were a little apprehensive about the conversion. But in reality, I think if the unit is to be viable today, the electronic conversion is really the way to go. It's not as though the electronic governors are unreliable. You know, let's face it, electronic governing for stationary engines and gensets has been around for the better part of 30 years now, so it's not like it's new, untried technology here. So I think what we need to do first is go a little bit deeper into this engine. Because that mechanical governor came apart, before we fire it up and start running it, we really need to identify any other bits and pieces that may have made it into the engine, and identify if there's any really root cause to that governor failure, such as an inherent lack of lubrication throughout the whole engine. So I think what we're going to do initially is drain the oil, pull the filters off, drop the oil pan off, see what that looks like. Maybe check a rod cap or a main cap, pull those off and take a look. And eventually we're going to have to pull this valley plate off. This valley plate is in two halves, a front and a rear. At the very least, we need to get the front valley plate off so that I can plug that oil line that's down there that fed the governor. My intention is to do the electronic governor conversion and blank this original mechanical governor mounting area off, and even perhaps use that as a pedestal for the electric governor actuator. Now, speaking of electric governors, I've kind of gathered a few components that I've had laying around for a while. I use these parts for testing here in the field. So I've got an older Barbara Coleman electronic governor controller. This one's missing a bunch of screws. They must have rattled out when this thing was riding around in my van. We've got an old American Bosch actuator. This actuator originally, if anybody is familiar with the old Cummins PT fuel systems, this actuator had the small valve mounted on it, that the outlet from the PT pump ran through that valve, and then from that valve up to the heads, up to the injectors in the head. And that valve actually controlled the fuel flow up to the heads instead of the actual valve in the PT pump. And I've got two mag pickups here. I got a 3/8 and a 5/8. So I think I've identified a good place to mount these on the bell housing. But like I said, we're a little while from actually doing this, installing these components and testing it out. We need to take a closer look at the engine first. So let's get started. Okay, well, the first order of business is going to be to drain the oil out of this thing. So I've got my oil pump set up. Got a nice drain pipe here coming out of the oil pan. Unfortunately, it doesn't come from the very bottom. There's probably about 1.5 inches of oil that we're not going to be able to get out. There might be a plug at the very bottom, but we'll just take the pan down with that. So I've got a little strainer here. This actually came off a Generac diesel generator. It's a fuel strainer. Any old Generac techs will recognize that. So let's go ahead and open this valve. Turn the pump on. This is mainly just to catch if there's any solids or any real debris in there, this will catch it before it goes into my pump. Let's see what this looks like. Pretty dark for a natural gas engine. But then again, this oil's probably been in there for 10 years. Maybe not 10 years. Maybe that's a little a little excessive. But as far as the maintenance history on this one goes, there's not a lot of it. The customer did a lot of their own little repairs and maintenance, so it's really a big unknown when the last time the oil was changed in this thing, or what kind of oil it even is. It looks to me right now like a 30 weight, like a straight 30. Probably is. That would be about right. That's what they put in everything. So, curious to see what the filters look like when we get those apart. Oh, there it goes. Wow, not even 5 gallons in this thing. That's probably about 2.5 gallons of oil. I would have expected more. And it was in the operating range on the dipstick, so that's all it holds. It's a lot of engine for 2.5 gallons. Maybe 3 gallons if you count the filters. Okay, before I cut these filters apart, I just wanted to show you this. I slid the socks themselves off the little mandrels. These are just disposable. They come with the new filters. But you can see that where I wiped it clean there. And this is the actual finish. So definitely some kind of metallic sludgy residue on that. So not good. Let me go ahead and cut these filters apart. Before I do that again, let me see if I can show you what I'm seeing on the exterior of these filters. Can you see all the little bits and pieces there? They look metallic to me. I haven't ran a magnet over it yet, but we'll see. Some in that one too. Alright, I just wanted to show you what one of these filters looks like taken apart. It's kind of interesting. You know, there literally is this fabric that feels like, you know, a cheap pair of socks wrapped around a stack of these kind of like woolen fiber discs here. So they're stacked up like that, and then you've got this kind of, this feels fibrous, like almost like wood fiber. I don't know if that's what it is for sure. That's all stacked up and wrapped with this sock material. So here's what I pulled off of the first filter. See if it'll focus on that. Probably not. Let's see. That was a clean magnet when we started, but it's got a couple little flecks in there, little debris. Alright, let's pull that oil pan off. Alright, I got all the oil pan bolts removed. I got one on each side. I'm going to go pull the other side off, and we'll slide the oil pan out through here. I pulled the starter off to make, you know, just to facilitate bringing it out a little bit more easily. Let's see. Pull this last bolt out here. It's actually still stuck on this side. The pan, this pan I don't think has ever been off, because it took some effort to chisel away here. Oh, yeah, I say chisel, I mean chisel, to get that gasket to split. Hopefully I can clear the oil pickup. Oh, okay. There's more oil left in there than I thought. Okay. Quite a bit more oil in there than I thought. You see that? That's ridiculous. And there is a drain plug at the bottom of this pan, at the very bottom. But look at this. Look at all this oil in here. Hang on. Look at all this oil that has never been changed. You know what I mean when I say that, though. All that oil you're not going to get out because that right there is where we drained it from. You can see how far above the bottom it is. Whoa. And there's some stuff sitting around at the bottom of this thing. The actual sump drain is right in the center. Alright, let me get the rest of this oil out of here. I'll use my pump and I'll just vac it out. And we'll get this up onto the table. Here's the oil pickup. Let's take a look here. You know what? Let's take a look. So, here's our pickup. Well, there's quite a bit of space down here, so it'll be easy enough to pop a couple caps off. There's timing gears. That's the oil pump right there. Pretty neat. I guess that's the pressure relief right there. Huh. Alright, let me get that pan out of there. You know, the annoying thing is I got about 2 more gallons of oil out of that pan that I didn't get out of the drain plug. You know, that's something? People just don't think when they do things sometimes. So here's a pan. That's the drain plug they should have been using. And that's what we got in here. Let me set you up on the stand and we'll see if we got any metal debris or if that's all just sludge. You know, it shouldn't be too bad sludge-wise, because it wasn't running natural gas. All the sludge is just going to be from the oil breaking down. No big chunks of anything. There's some filings. I'm curious if when that governor came apart, if it made any chunks. They probably stayed up in the valley. They probably just landed up on the valley and didn't move down from there. This is all just filings. Yeah, see that? It looks like a lot of bearing material to me. This kind of gray sheen that it has. That's probably all bearing. All that. See that? That's bearing. That's the non-ferrous bearing metals. There's a couple chunks there. Yeah. But that's what's in the engine, so that's not great. I mean, it ain't the worst thing in the world, but it ain't the best thing. Well, let's pull a couple caps off the bottom end and see what the bearings look like. Kind of ugly, right?
definitely dirt slash metal grit contamination. Not really plain old simple wood. Maybe not that bad. Not as bad as the other. I mean, it's good. That's what happens when you're riding around with all kinds of stuff on. Take a look at the front page stuff. Well, front page.
Alright, well it's time to start tearing the upper end apart here. I popped the distributor out already, and the bracket that held the coil, and looks like this thing was set up to potentially have dual distributors at some point, depending on the application, I would imagine. Maybe military would have had dual distributors, or if this was in a fire truck or something like that. Something a bit more critical. I imagine it would have had to have a different set of heads, though. I don't imagine how they could get two spark plugs in there unless they found a way to put one on the other side there. So let me set you up on the tripod and we're gonna start this teardown. The hoses would need to be replaced as well. There's no sense in trying to be gentle with these. The goal right now is just to get them off. Man, that's heavy. Yeah, that's heavy. Okay, let's get this intake out of here. Man, this thing looks heavy. Oh man. Stuck on something on that side, huh? Oh, it's got dowels. Okay. Well, that might explain it. It's got dowel pins on this side. It doesn't have dowel pins on that side. That's interesting. So get the dowels out of their holes. And see if we can lift this thing out of here. Oh yeah. We didn't need that old hose anyway. Now it is split down the center. Maybe it would behoove me to remove that and take it off in two pieces. Whew, wow. Probably would. See, I pulled two bolts out from the water pump running into the top cover here. There's two bosses. I could see the bolts. So let me go ahead and split the pan. Now, is there another set of bolts holding this front? You know what? Nope, but there are dowel pins. Okay. So I've got to lift the pan straight up off the dowels. Well, that could be possible. I really don't want to disturb the water pump if I don't have to. Let's see. Alright, let's get you down off the tripod. I'm sure you're all dying to see this. Okay. It's funny, it looks just like a big GM V8 down in the valley. So, what are we looking at here? There's that oil line. that feeds or fed the governor. It probably also feeds the governor drive gear, this whole shaft here. So you can see, what do we got? This gear drives the distributor, or distributors if you have two, and we've just got a big old helical gear driving off of the cam gear. It looks like down there, that would be the cam, running right down there, and I can kind of see the cam gear down that hole, hiding down there. And then the water pump will be driven off the front of this shaft out here. Very interesting. So I can't just go plugging this line off here, because I need to keep this shaft lubricated. So I'm going to have to seal the hole, that hole right there. I'm thinking about making an aluminum plug, actually like a slug, with two O-ring grooves that I can slide right in this area, and maybe nut and bolt it, or maybe not even use a nut and bolt, just slide it in and make it tall enough so that the cover that's on the valley plate keeps it captured in there. It can't drop out, it'll have a shoulder on it, and it can't raise up because it'll hit the cover. So I think that's going to be my solution, because I don't want to put the mechanical governor back in if it's not doing anything. But the valley itself looks pretty damn clean. Pretty damn clean compared to the pan. Of course, it's gonna get some dirt in it now. Oh, there's some governor parts though. See that? Come on now, focus on that. No? Okay, whatever. Yeah, oh yeah, there it is. There's all the metallic debris from the governor. It's very fine, but it's there. Look at all the little shinies down there. That's part of the casting. But yeah, there's some grit and bits and pieces there. You can see that. That needed to come out. Well, I'm glad taking the valley plate off wasn't for nothing, because that really made this job a lot bigger. So, look at that, getting dirt in the thing. Yeah, looks like it had a gasket. You know what? It's a multi-piece gasket, and somebody put it together with lots of silicone. Okay, I can make that, no problem. It's the intake exhaust gasket that I'm worried about. I mean, that's not something I can easily make, for sure. What the heck's going on there? Oh, it's just dirt. Just rust. I'll have to do some searching on the web and see if I can at least find the intake exhaust gaskets. Let's take a look at the distributor drive gear more closely. Let me walk over to the bench here. So here's the distributor. The little drive gear down at the bottom looks perfect. Likewise, the this gear here, that's a worm, I guess, worm gear. That looks perfect as well. Oh, come on now. There you go. And the drive gear looks just fine. So all of the wear, this is that governor drive gear, all of the wear was right up in the end of that gear. All of this wear here and the wear on the governor itself was due, I think, just to the fact that that governor had so much load on it. That's what killed the thrust bearing. So, well, I think we're going to end this video. We turned this into a big project, didn't we? Oh boy. But I think it'll run again. It just needs a little bit of TLC. And yeah, new electronic governor. So thanks for watching, and watch out for the next one.